Hey, I'm Weekend Gabe, and you're checking out Weekend at Gabe's, and thanks for checking out this latest episode. While you're here, also follow us on these social medias at Weekend Gabe, at Weekend at Gabe's, and also at The Real Sam Crane. Thanks for checking us out.
I am so excited, like Jesse Spano and Saved by the Bell, to bring forth this guest of the night. I've followed his career. Sam, during the pre-production show, was pretty much saying people from my generation who have been around for a while. But I've been following his career for quite some time, and I'm astonished by everything that he does and everything he touches and how he moves. It is a pleasure to introduce ProbCause to the show on Weekend at Gabe. Good evening.
Wait, my video isn't working. Hold on. I'm about to
Right.
switch. Can I switch over onto Twitter real quick, or to my computer real quick?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah.
We'll just chop it up. No worries. So tell us a little bit more about ProbCause, our next guest here, Weekend Gabe. When was the first time you discovered this man's music?
I was doing internet radio.
Oh, now we're lost.
I think it was internet radio. Nah, we dropped him off, so he'll come back. I was doing internet radio over at the Illinois School of Broadcasting, and at the time we got a lot of independent music that was coming through because we couldn't play any commercial that has royalties or as what is it? How would you say?
Publishing.
Copywritten, right? Yeah.
Right.
So we'll play all this independent music, and I believe that it was like there that I started hearing his records play while I was getting ready. I was hearing on other people's show, and then he was also popping up on Vocalo a lot when I was interning, and then began to start reviewing albums. And so I had him on the show, and we were talking. I was following his career through most of the 2010s, and everything he's done has been absolute phenomenal. And so I'm so glad that we got him back. Rob, how are you?
I feel like I fucked up that awesome intro that y'all gave for my technology issues.
Nah, you smooth, bro. You smooth.
You hit me with the alley-oop, and I just jagged it.
I was like, he was in the black square in the preview in the green room, and I was like, well, he's just trying to avail himself on air. You didn't want to see it, but whatever. It happens a lot on this show. How are you? Good to see you, man. It's been so long.
Man, it's been a long time, man. I'm great. Still in Chicago. I'm pretty much doing the same thing that I've been doing since the last time we talked.
Oh man, it's been like 5-6 years. It's been a long time.
Yeah.
but I've been lurking and following your career and everything that you've been doing, reinventing yourself, finding new paths to stay relevant, but also to push forward art and media. It's been really fascinating. I want to get into you dropped at the end of. We're going to get to some of the music and the artwork for sure, but I want to mention the 3-song EP that you put out at the end of the year last year, Halo. Let's talk a little bit about that because it looks like in the balance of ProbCause that a lot of your work is favoring towards more of the art and the installation of producing artwork, but we get some new music from you. Talk about that balance of getting making sure that people still recognize you as a flourishing artist and an artist that still has something to say.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, it's been a really different last couple years, really, because I started touring with this other artist named Grizz, who I started working with more exclusively and helping on writing on his album and whatnot. So kind of like taking a backseat from being the face of the music and being more on the writer side, being more of a supporting act within his live show. So it kind of like changed my mindset of how I even wanted to approach the music stuff. And so all the projects that I've released have really just been like the music that I've always wanted to make, that was really just for me. And I think before that I was trying to like fit into what was happening in the Chicago scene that was emerging,
Sure.
or the national scene. So I think like the last couple projects I put out, which have been like spaced a lot between each other, usually my output is a little heavier, have just been more at my own pace, my own speed, and the kind of music that I'm interested in making, which happens to be like across the board. There's no one style that I really like feel like is my own. I feel like I'm so interested in so much different, I have so many different inspirations. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
You talked about taking sort of a step back from being the face of the music, right? Is there a huge adjustment going from sort of, to use basketball analogy, like the James Harden role to the Chris Paul role?
Yeah. I mean, for me, it was a really natural progression where it was like, what ended up happening is I was touring with Grizz more often, and sometimes those dates would conflict with what I was doing with my solo shows. And I had a moment where I was just like, what do I prefer doing more? Like, what's a funner experience for me? And on
Mhm.
stage, being with Grizz, having like a DJ who's, I mean, it's kind of like where hip hop started, where the DJ was the main thing and the MCs just
Yeah.
kind of like kept the party flowing. But like, it was really about the beat, the backbone of everything. So I felt like a kinship to that, I guess. I was like, I'm just here to hype up the moment, and it's not all about me. And I think as I got older, it was like my ego was shrinking, and I wasn't like craving attention in the same way. It was like, I just want to be in the dope spots and contribute to like a vibe. As cliche as that might sound, it was kind of like it felt right to be doing that. So I think it was a really natural adjustment. It wasn't like, yo, I got to check my ego and like this is his show and not mine. It was more like, yeah, I really enjoyed doing this. I'm gaining a lot of fans from doing it, so my fan base is growing, and I feel like I'm growing as an artist, and it's pushing me to do things that I'm uncomfortable with. And it's more collaborative. You know, it's not just like me alone trying to figure out what I'm going to do on stage for an hour every night. You know, it's more collaborative, and like we can do bigger things together.
Was there a veteran artist when you were beginning your career that kind of played that role for you? That was sort of like introducing you, but also like sort of being, I want to say a mentor, but a guiding light of like introducing you and putting you out there to the world, who also was kind of taking a step back?
Yeah, I mean, Longshot was the one, you know, who
Oh, yeah,
really was, you know, to this day is one of my closest friends and was my mentor, you know, when I was in high school. Because I was a little bit younger than that generation who like kind of like the you know, the Moment stuff, like all that was a little bit before me, or a lot
sure.
before me. So I learned from those cats.
Right.
And Longshot was always like really one of the few people who was really accepting of me, you know, being this like skinny, nerdy white dude from Evanston. You know, like Shot was really just like welcoming and always invited me to the studio and gave me tons of advice, life advice, because he'd lived through a lot of crazy shit. And so I learned, God, countless things from that man, and owe a lot of where I'm at now to him. Psalm One was another one. You know, she really took me
Sure.
under her wing, did some touring together. I would say those are like two of the main people, but Longshot really, you know, I'm like, I have so much gratitude for him.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I read in an interview from 2018, two things. One, that you've been cooking vegan,
Word.
and another, that if you weren't rapping, that you would be doing more artwork. So
Yeah.
I wanna talk a little bit about that. Your website is incredible. The catalog is incredible. There's everything on there. There are Lucy drawings. There are full size prints. There are tote bags. There is vinyl on there.
Yeah.
It's a really deep catalog, and I'm just thinking from sort of a younger artist perspective, especially for people who don't have any merch and want to set up a shop as sort of like deep and colorful as yours. What advice would you have for them for, you know, creating all this stuff? Obviously, this didn't happen overnight. This is a
Right.
passion project that you've had for a really long time.
Yeah, you know, merch has always been really important to me. Like the just my brand, because I am a visual artist, so just the visual aesthetic was always a fun part for me to add to. I think since I came in the game to now, it's a lot easier to get yourself set up on like an awesome website. Really good distribution mechanisms if you want to do drop ship items, like so you don't have to be mailing everything out yourself. You know, like I don't really touch anything other than the vinyl and then like special request sign things. Other than that, most of my stuff is drop ship, so it's like passive income, you could say.
Yeah.
Other than, you know, I put the work into making the products and doing the visuals for them. But I think, you know, the way that I look at my career at this point is over the years I've just added a couple other revenue streams every year. They might be small, it might be like $100 a year, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
then some of them might be like a lot more than that. So it's like every year for, I've been doing this for like 15 years, like for a long time,
Right.
even before that. I've just tried to add another thing. It could even be a song that's just streaming, just add something. Cause I knew that when I would be, at this point in my career, I would have all this stuff under my wing or under my umbrella that people could tap into from different worlds. Like, so that's kind of how I've approached it. I don't know if that works for everyone. I've always kind of, there's been no formula to any of this. It's been like, let me make the coolest shit that I can do, and let me put this out. And if people like it, they like it. If they don't, they don't. But I'm gonna keep making stuff and making it available as easy as possible for people to consume that.
Word.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm going to ask you a question that our wonderful intern produced for us. Was that the website, as glorious and as beautiful as it is, it's lacking one thing. It's lacking the fucking music.
It don't have no screams.
So,
You got to buy the vinyl if you want to listen to it.
Yeah.
valid point. However,
Yeah.
the question stems from those younger listeners who have not been following you for 15 years, who might be interested in learning more about your musical part of your career, going to the website and not seeing that listed as a category in itself. Was that an intentional decision to exempt that?
Yeah, I mean, what I started noticing is that all of my music was being consumed on YouTube and on Spotify or other streaming services. People weren't going to my website to listen to the music. So what I have on my Twitter is I have like a link fire, and I have basically they're like splash pages with links to all the different shit that I do. And I was like, I'm just going to turn ProbCause.com into, if you want to consume from this artist, this is where you can get everything. Again, it was like, yo, if these, especially the new generation, if they're trying to find a ProbCause song, they'll find that shit so fast. They don't need to go to the website and then go to another link. They'll follow me on Twitter or go to my bio in there and find it, or they'll just go directly to wherever they stream music or to YouTube, and they'll get it there. So it was like, I wouldn't be opposed to having music on there. Like after you're saying it, I'm like, oh, cool. Like maybe I should go check that out and put like a little link to the music page.
Well, also it kind of feeds into maybe the theory that you're stepping further away from music and more into the visual art world, which seems to be more of your passion right now, or more where your interest is drawing from.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely true. I think, it's one of those things where for me, it's always been like these waves where for a little period of time, for a window, it'll be like hyper focused on visual art based projects, animations, now NFT stuff. And then I'll go through this wave where it's like, oh my God, I'm so inspired. I haven't written in a few months. I still write almost every day, just a little bit, just to like stay in shape, but like not fully immersed in the studio space. And so like now I'm finding myself kind of re-entering the music space. I was just in Colorado working on some new music for Grizz, and we were there for like a week writing every day, and I had an absolute blast. We wrote some amazing music, and it got me in the space of like, I haven't written for myself in a while. So now I'm kind of starting to re-enter like, yo, I want to get back into, working on this album that's next.
Word.
So let's transition then. Let's talk NFTs because Gabe needs a crash course. You can see the touch of gray in his hair, and that's giving away what he needs to know.
Yeah. I'll tell you the other reason I don't have the link to my music, because streaming don't pay the damn bills, man. It's crazy. I mean, it does to a certain degree, and it's not about that, but it's really like the NFT stuff is amazing. It shows the stark contrast between like how musicians are consumed and treated in this world opposed to like how art is consumed in the Web3 world, as they call it, in the NFT space. Where it's like, man, it's crazy that artists will have millions of streams and they're getting paid like a few $100 for those. It's pretty insulting, it's pretty sad.
So
exactly.
so let's wind the clock back to the first NFT, because we had Scent Rock on here a few months ago.
Yeah.
Great muralist and artist from the Pilsen area and also Arizona. And we asked him if he was going to do an NFT collection, and he said no, absolutely not. I don't think that's my vibe. A month later, the man is dropping his own NFT collection.
I was about to say, I swear he dropped one. I swear I saw it. Yeah.
So, first off, we want to take credit for that here on this show, because that's what we do. Second off, I just want to, like, what gave you that exigence to try and, start a project, and Scully's is the project. Am I correct?
Yeah. Scully's is the main jam. The Lucy's was actually one of the started that before Scully's, and it kind of like filtered into the Scully's world. But for me, the visual art side had never been lucrative. It was always just about something that I did. And when I could get a commission to do like a flyer or an album cover, like it was cool, but it'd be like, nothing crazy. I think with the NFT stuff, what the first one I ever sold was just like I was watching some of these other cool visual graphic artists on Twitter and hearing them talk about NFTs, and they were like talking about Ethereum. I didn't know about any of that shit. I knew about Bitcoin because I had a little bit of that. So I just started like studying, seeing what they were doing. I went on Rarible, which is like a site where you can mint NFTs. That was the first place I went. Uploaded one of these little like looping animations, put it at 0.33 ETH because I just saw other shit was listed for around there. I didn't really know. That was like, I think $150, $200 at the time. Not even, maybe. Right after I put it up, it sold. And that was like, for me, it was like, yo, I just sold a drawing for $150, $200. That was like a lot for me at that point. It was like, that's more than I sell my shit for most of the time. So that happened. And I was like, okay, what the fuck's going on? Let me try this again. And like, a couple days later, made a new piece, put it up there, same price, snatched again immediately. Started like talking to the people who had bought them, like, hey, what's going on? And building a relationship with them. They're like, we love your work. We, so happy to see you in this space. And from there, it was just like, every time I put a piece out, I would meet a new collector. It would sell. I started building this like community, one person by one person, started getting introduced to people, started learning and educating myself more about the technology and cryptocurrencies, and all of it really like resonated with just the type of dude that I am. In terms of like having some decentralized financial system seemed appealing to someone who doesn't have a great deal of trust in the government. And so it's just like, it was checking all the boxes. It was like, cool, people are consuming my art. It's like the stock market mixed with trading like basketball cards or like collectibles, which I'm already into. And at the end of the day, it was like, yo, people want my art. That feels really good. And they're willing to pay me for it. And so from there, I just kept kind of building, learning about the technology and learning about what was possible with art and this technology. And eventually led me into doing this Scully collection, which is like a take on generative art, which is a big thing in the NFT space. So I generate the Scullys by rolling dice, and the dice dictate the traits of each of the skulls. So when you buy a Scully, you can look at all the properties and you can see what dice were rolled to generate it, what traits it has. And then once you have this big collection, some traits are more rare than others. Just like, I don't know if y'all ever played like Magic the Gathering or Pokemon or any of that.
Right.
But it has a similarity to that in terms of like rarities and property charts.
That's super unique as far as like giving it characteristics and like almost attributes beyond what it is. Is that what you feel, those sorts of added things? I had another question. What sort of gives a collection value?
So 2 answers to that. I'm kind of doing my own thing that's different than what a lot of other people are doing in the NFT space. I think there is an interesting philosophical question to be had about what gives things value and why do we spend $500 for a comic book or $1,000 for a basketball card that's really just a piece of cardboard. I think there's a conversation to be had about digital ownership and what that means. So like what owning ProbCause piece really means and having that validated on the blockchain. So you really own it. You know, no one can question your ownership. So like a lot of the time, the argument you'll hear from the anti-NFT people will be like, I could right click and save this, or I could take a photograph of it and I have it, you know, I own it because it's on my phone. But like you could also go to the Louvre and take a picture of the Mona Lisa, and you could have that picture on your phone, but you don't own the Mona Lisa. You know what I mean? You have a picture of the Mona Lisa. So it's the same thing. People have always valued ownership that resonates with their identity. And now we're just seeing a digital form of that. So people use these images as their profile picture, or they, you know, to show that they're part of this community. And that's always been something that human beings have been, you know, into. They've wanted to show, you know, I'm a basketball fan. I wear this Michael Jordan jersey or a Bulls jersey of my favorite player. Like they want to show their allegiance to a community. So what I'm doing is harvesting a community in a different way and using the Scullies as kind of like a vessel for that. And I know I'm talking a lot because this stuff is like so dense that it's like I'm trying to
you're doing a really great
job
of boiling it down to like something that works.
So the other cool thing that you can do is you can kind of like token gate things, right? So everyone who owns a Scully has access to like a secret portion of my website with merch that only they can get. Also, I'm working with some music festivals where only like where Scully owners, people who own one of my Scully NFTs, will be able to take that Scully NFT, go to another website, validate their ownership, and get a free ticket to the music festival because I'm friends with the music festival and they've bought a piece of my connections, my relationships, just ProbCause. And so like there are perks that come with that because of my relationships. So it's almost like buying stock in an artist to a certain degree. And you can come up with endless utilities. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of the way that I view it is harvesting a community around. It starts with we like this art, and then it builds from there.
Wow.
It sounds like this. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead, Gabe.
No, it sounds like what this moment for you, Prob, is probably sounds like the moment when you probably first got into music and that new experience of being in something that's hasn't been discovered for you yet as an artist, and you're just so enamored by all the possibilities of and what avenues it creates through this portal of NFTs, because you're giving away a lot of game, by the way, for anyone who's watching.
Yeah. Good. I want people to utilize this because it's really a way. All it is to, or it has endless potential for artists, but I love to see artists get paid. You know what I mean? What they deserve, because they are often undervalued. And, you know, the idea of the struggle rapper or the struggle artist is like far too common. So to me, NFTs can be at least one additional revenue stream for artists to be able to survive, you know? So I think that's like a big thing that I find exciting about it.
Hell yeah. Oh yeah. No, definitely. I agree with Gabe. You definitely gave a lot of free game away today. So if you're out there watching America, learn something. We like to have a little bit of fun on this show. And I know you're a big Bulls fan. You draw a lot of the Bulls art. I seen Dennis Rodman up there, Michael Jordan for sure.
Yeah.
Here is my question. What current Bulls player should make an NFT collection?
Whoa. Okay, so here's my other thing. A lot of the celebrity / athlete NFTs have been very cringy to me. They're like really cash grabby. They're not invested in the community or the space or like the well-being of the space. They just see a lot of money being made there. And so they come in and they do a half-ass project. And unfortunately, it's almost like we call it a rug in the NFT space, where it's basically the rug's being pulled out from under you.
Yeah.
Because what they do is they pretend like these are going to be like awesome and that they put a bunch of effort into them, and then people spend all their money on them and then they go nowhere. They just like tank. So I'm a little bit at this moment. I can't remember who's DeAndre Fox, who plays for the Sacramento Kings, just did one.
Yeah, I saw that the other day.
It was awful. It's so cringeworthy. This dude makes $153 million on a 6-year contract and does like a $1 million cash grab for some shitty foxes. And it's like, man, so I hate to see that stuff. So I'm almost like, yo, Bulls players, just sit this one out for a little bit. Sit this one out. Let the artist make the money. Y'all are good already. You know what I mean? Maybe Matthew Thomas needs a little bit of extra cake or something like that. He might want to do one, but or Bradley, because he might not be with us too much longer.
Bradley gonna need a job outside of basketball for damn sure. I don't even know what's going on with that.
But yeah,
man,
sit this one out.
That's crazy, because I definitely thought when I woke up this morning and thought of the question, I was like, man, it would be cool to do like an NFT collection of just DeMar game winners or like something like that.
Okay, so there is. Do you know about NBA Top Shot?
Top Shot is a thing, but that's NBA though, right? Like
that's NBA. The money it's not it's not the individual players. What I would say is like the Chicago Bulls or like teams doing NFTs in a cool way to give some sort of utility to their fans. I don't know what that would be, but maybe it's like a merch item that's exclusive to NFT holders.
Maybe they should get up with ProbCause to cultivate
that's what I was going to say. That's exactly what I was saying. Consult
it may or may not be happening already.
Hey, that's a Weekend at Gabe's exclusive. We'd love to see
alpha news. I didn't sign any NDAs yet, so it's all good.
All right, before we get out of here, I want to play a quick game of Prob Yes or Cause Nah. All right. So
I love it.
Yes, you say Prob Yes. If it's no good, Cause Nah. All right.
Yeah,
would you go on a date?
It.
All right. Would you go on a date and not offer to pay for dinner? Prob Yes or
Cause Nah. Cause I'm married.
There you go. All right. All right, would you work with an artist who isn't as talented as you? Prob yes or cause nah?
Prob yes, because like it's not about the talent necessarily. You know what I mean? If you got the heart and the grit, like I'm all about it.
All right. Would selling $1 million NFT retire you from hip hop? Prob yes or cause nah?
Cause nah, never, baby, never. I'm gonna rap till I'm an old man.
Hell yeah!
Home.
All right,
hell yeah!
All right, great segue. Are you the best rapper in Chicago? Prob yes, cause nah.
Oh man, nah. I'm good, baby. I'm good. I've done songs with some of the greats, but I wouldn't call myself the best.
All right, last one. Have you ever been called ProbCause?
Yeah. Is this a trick question because you know the answer?
Yes. Yes, cause no.
Definitely been ProbCause before. Shout out my homie Jesse Menendez.
Yeah, that's where it came from.
Yes, sir.
Rob, thank you so much for joining us here tonight on this Weekend at Gabe's Tuesday night show. We appreciate all the insight and the just the exploration of NFTs and the work that you're doing. It's fantastic.
Absolutely appreciate y'all, man. Have a good evening. It was good to catch up with you, Gabe. It's been too long.
I know. Sounds good. Well, I'll see you in the world soon. I'm back in the game like Gru. You know.
Yes, sir. We coming back, baby. Go Bulls.
All right.
Go Bulls.
All right. Talk to you soon. ProbCause joining us here on Weekend at Gabe's on this Tuesday night. Oh man, I love it.
Yeah, wow, what an insightful interview. And so much to talk about. We didn't even get to half of the stuff that ProbCause has gotten into. He's written a children's book. He has collabed with artists like Saba Chance the Rapper. His cover on his new Moonflower vinyl is AR. We didn't even talk about AR, augmented reality.
I mean, like Chance. The news is that Chance is returning to music soon, and he's gathering all these talented people that have been around him. I wanted to ask if ProbCause would be part of that collection of artists. We didn't even get into that.
Hey, I'm Weekend Gabe. Thanks for checking out this latest episode of Weekend at Gabe's. Click on any of the links swirling around my head and also hit the subscribe button while you're here. Thanks for checking out us here on YouTube.